Pleasure, you could stay on straight to our very first story. The police have arrested 6 persons for attacking a police officer at the Wuno Akotosu checkpoint in the Komewu district of the Ashanti region on Friday, 7th April 2023. Now, preliminary investigation disclosed that the suspects, Edward Boateng, Evans Ado, Yao Kusi, Michael Wusu, Yao Boateng, and Emmanuel Mensah, together with 2 others who are currently on the run, were returning from an illegal bush hunting expedition in a taxi when the police officer stopped them at the checkpoint for a routine check. However, the suspects, in an attempt to prevent the police officer from checking their contents in their car, pounced on him and violently attacked him. The police, on receiving the distress call of the attack, immediately moved in and arrested 5 of the suspects, while 2 managed to escape. Now, the victims, as we've been told by the police, pretty soon we shall get more on that for you. But the victim, according to police officer who sustained a knee injury, together with 1 of the suspects, were rushed to a police hospital where they are receiving medical treatment. Meanwhile, all the suspects are in the custody, and to face justice, efforts are underway to get the last suspect arrested. All right, so we've got to move on to some other stories. And the United Nations Population Fund has collaborated with the Bono East Regional Health Directorate to upgrade an abandoned facility to serve as a central medical store for the region. Now, the structure, according to the Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Edumaku Boateng, would go a long way to help improve access to healthcare as well as the region's viability in terms of healthcare delivery. There is more in this report.
Health service delivery in the Bono East region at the district and facility levels has been greatly affected by the persistently poor availability of essential medicines and medical supplies. Since its creation nearly 4 years ago, the Regional Health Directorate continuously relies on the Bono Regional Medical Store for its supplies, a situation that has generally affected healthcare delivery, particularly in the eastern part of the region. Today, through the support of the United Nations Population Fund, the region is witnessing the handing over of an upgraded warehouse to serve as a regional medical store as part of interventions aimed at institutionalizing best warehouse practices in the newly created region. Regional Director of Health Services Dr. Fred Edumaku Boateng says the refurbished structure will go a long way in helping the region's viability in terms of healthcare delivery.
If you look at Bono East, we ourselves over here, we have some places that we call Far East. So you can see that in terms of access, getting logistics, commodities for the population of Bono East was a challenge. And that was the very reason why Bono East was carved out from the Bono. And the idea is that you get a viable regional health directorate. And when we say a viable regional health directorate, it means one, the substances, the materials, commodities and medicines that you need to make sure that people have the quality of care that they deserve, they have it. So if you don't have it, then it means that you are not viable region. No matter what you say, you need a functional regional medical stores to be operating. Because when you go to any facility, if you don't have equipment, if you don't have medicines, if you don't have anything to diagnose the people and manage, then obviously it means that you are not viable. So you can see the significance of what we are doing here. We can say that in our journey to becoming viable, today marks actually the birthday of Bono East Regional Health Directorate.
Country Director at the United Nations Population Fund, who are key partners to the event, Dr. Wilfred Ochan, emphasized that the move forms part of UNFPA's quest to help improve access to healthcare.
Chair, please permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to mention that Bono East region is one of UNFPA implementing regions. It means we partner with them and we provide both technical and some financial support to implement some key health programs. Through this engagement, UNFPA has been supporting the Health Directorate and other agencies to improve healthcare delivery through capacity building, in aim to strengthen reproductive healthcare delivery in general. It is my greatest hope, Honorable Minister, and Dr. Aboje, that the institutionalized warehouse, a major investment, will live up to its expectation of providing the the congenial storage and distribution of essential medical supplies that is compliant with and meet the highest prescribed safety, efficiency, and customer satisfaction standards.
On his part, Director General of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, commended the UNFPA and other partners for the support provided and asked that there is the need for the Directorate to institute mechanisms that will promote accountability and the efficient use of the facility.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must say that RMS on its own is not an end, as depicted in the drama. Others must be there. So we encourage the new region to put in place a system that will promote efficient use of the new facility, that will ensure accountability, that will ensure payment for the commodities that are to be procured, and that will lead to sustainability and also growth of the sector.
Also present at the ceremony are other key partners in the health sector, including the United States Agency for International Development, who supported the facility with some computers to facilitate the region's quest to achieving universal health coverage. Anna Sabit, JoyNews, Kintampo.
Let's now talk about the resurrection of Christ, because General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Mensa Otabil, has urged Christians to seek Christ from the right place in order to have a healthy and a lasting relationship with him. Basically, in his resurrection message to his Facebook followers on Word to Go, Mr. Otabil said, if Christians look for Jesus Christ from the wrong place, they risk missing him and may not have the full appreciation of who he is.
Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Indeed and truly, the Son of God is risen from the dead, no more to die, but to return as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Matthew 28, verse 5 and 6. But the angel answered and said to the women, do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where the Lord lay. What marvelous words. He is risen as he said. This is what they were trying to prevent. This is why they took all the precautions, and he still rose from the dead. Jesus is alive. And the women went to the tomb on resurrection morning. They were not expecting a risen Savior. They were just going to take further care of him. They wanted somebody to roll away the stone, so they'll go in again and embalm the body. But Jesus did not wait for embalmment. He said what Mary did a couple of days ago, about a week earlier, prepared him for it. That was all that he needed for his body, and he rose again. For the disciples of Jesus Christ, the resurrection was a promise, a prophecy, but it was difficult to believe because it had never happened. They had seen Jesus die, or they had heard of it. They had seen all the signs of death. Buried. As far as they could tell, this is the end of the story. And the question is, they were looking for Jesus Christ in the wrong place. He is not here. And that's a very important question for us to consider. You know, most people acknowledge Jesus Christ to be something. Some think he's a good teacher, a good philosopher, a good man, a good philanthropist, you know, positive things about him. But what kind of Jesus are you seeking for? Are you just seeking for a good teacher and a good philosopher and a good man? What are you looking for? Because if you're looking for him in the wrong place, you'll not find him. If you're looking for the wrong Jesus, you'll never find him. And that's what they were doing. They were looking for Jesus in the wrong place. In the tomb, he says, he's not here. If you're looking for him in philosophy, he's not here. If you're looking for him just with science, he's not here. There is a place to find him, and that is to find him in the words he spoke, as he has said. Today, as we contemplate the resurrection, it's also a moment for us to consider what we are looking for in Jesus Christ and where we are looking for him from. And if we are looking for him and we want to find him, then his words must become the basis of our discovery. He is the way, the truth, and the life. He is the light of the world. He is the bread of life. He is the living water. If you're looking for water for your soul and bread for your soul, if you are hungry spiritually and you want to be satisfied, then you will find him, because that is who he is. If you're just looking for a nice philosopher, you'll never discover the true Jesus. If you're looking for him among religious leaders, you'll never find the true Jesus. He is not here. Don't keep looking for just a human Jesus, a philosophical Jesus, a dead Jesus. Look for the living Jesus, the one who is alive, the one who conquered death, the one who gives life, the one who heals the sick, the one who breaks barriers, the one who gives victory. And that is where you find him.
Still in the spirit of the Resurrection Sunday, the climax of the redemption story for Christians is the resurrection and, of course, the ascension of Jesus Christ. The proof of that is an empty tomb which emboldens them in their faith in him. Till date, in modern-day Israel, the Garden Tomb attracts hundreds, if not thousands, of pilgrims to attest to the age-old biblical resurrection story. As we celebrate Easter, JoyNews' MFA Etiamwa Eli got the rare privilege to enter the over 2,000-year-old tomb in Jerusalem and shares her experience with us.
The Garden Tomb, as is referred to in modern-day Jerusalem, perhaps is the most famous and thrilling landmark for pilgrims visiting Israel. A breathtaking feature grasping the attention of tourists as soon as one enters is the serene atmosphere and the freshness of the green garden. Tourists are sure to be lost in the warm, natural scenery and be less bothered about how managers diligently ensure the garden is well kept. The well-mapped out walkways, the sitting areas, and designated huts or spaces for pilgrims' fellowship are just breathtaking. A Garden Tomb manager, Andrew Haynes, shares some historical facts about the tomb.
So how do we know there was a garden here 2,000 years ago? That's a very important question. And the answer is because of this. This is a wine press that is 2,000 years old. You put all the grapes in and you jump up and down on them to get the juice out. But it tells us that there was a vineyard right here. Someone was growing grapes and making wine. So yes, there was a garden here at the time of Jesus. And at the edge of the garden, a rich man's tomb, a burial place cut out of solid rock. So maybe the owner of this garden and vineyard is Joseph of Arimathea. He's rich and important. And he is the man who goes to Pontius Pilate to ask for the body of Jesus. He said, I want to put it in my tomb. And Pilate said, yes, if you really want to do that, take it away. And that's what Joseph did.
For most pilgrims, the tomb is the highlight of their pilgrimage. It is not just a moment to step in that biblical environment in real life, but to also walk into and out of the very spot the Messiah of the world is believed to have been laid when he died and later resurrected. Making it to that old age facility, seeing it, touching and making memory of themselves at the tomb is faith boosting.
It has lifted my faith and it has boosted my morale, which I believe from here, my preaching, everything will change.
It's memorable, very wonderful experience. Everything that happened here was really, in terms of spiritual growth, it has helped me.
I've seen the reality that Christ lives. And if Christ lives, he had lived before, he continues to live, and he's coming again.
What I've read in the Bible, what I've been taught in Sunday school, I've experienced it right in this pilgrimage. And my faith level is on another planet altogether.
Believers from all walks of life patiently queue a few meters away from the actual tomb to be guided in there, to have that lifetime experience. A small door-like opening leads visitors into the rocky tomb. For purposes of easy movement, the inner courts can accommodate maximum 8 people at a time. The floor to the right side of the tomb has 3 horizontal divisions originally meant for 3 bodies to lay. A metal railing separates the actual spot the body of Jesus is believed to have been laid from the rest of the spaces in the tomb, ostensibly in consecration of the place. Guess what you would have done in that space if you were in my shoe as a first-time visitor? I leave that to your imaginations. It appeared the feeling was same for all other pilgrims. Here are their accounts.
It was marvelous. When we were young, we thought, what I have seen now, it's not part of this earth now. But now, by the grace of God, we have seen it, touch it, feel it, and it's awesome.
I have seen it's real. Like, for example, where he died into, we actually went there. There are places where they have been marked from ancient times till this very day, and they have been preserved. So at least there's something we have evidence to show that this really happened. Even the names of the places, Jericho, Jerusalem. So by all means, there are places where Jesus was. They would for history's sake, they would definitely preserve it.
Well, I left the garden tomb feeling so accomplished and settled in my spirit. As long as my faith in God is concerned, there surely isn't any other argument, I said to myself. He is risen. I encourage you to try it if you can. You certainly won't be the same. Shalom and peace to you from the garden tomb in Jerusalem, the Holy Land. My name is Amafa Ewenam Atiamwa Eli for Joy News.
Christ is indeed risen. Let's move away from that and do some politics now. And the Opposition National Democratic Congress has expressed disgust at recent utterances made by newly appointed Minister of Food and Agriculture, Brian Ichampon, at Mpraeso in the Eastern region. Mr. Champon was heard during an address to party followers, vowing that his party will not allow the NDC back into power. According to him, the economy will fully recover by June or July if government secures the IMF deal. Joining us live is the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande, for his thoughts and, of course, his comments on this rather worrying story we are learning. Grateful you could join me, Mr. Gbande. And your colleague, I do know, Joseph Yameng, has been reacting to this statement by the Agric Minister. Do you share that same view?
I share a view more than what my brother have expressed, to the extent that I believe that what officials of government have started doing is just an indication of failure. And they have realized that the only alternative to stay on to power is to breed violence as they have done in the past. But I can assure them that we live in a country that has been very peaceful, a country where there are many people who have lived to see this country develop to this extent. We will not allow hooligans to take the country to hostage, and let not anyone underestimate the power of civil reaction, to the extent that if Ghanaians vote for the NDC and we have evidence that we have won an election, we can assure them that they will leave. They will leave power, and Ghana will live on. His Excellency Nana Addo is too intelligent, too blessed by this country to allow characters like Brian Achampong to destroy the legacies that he will leave as a former president. And let caution be taken that they should not take the NDC for granted. What we are looking forward is to see an awakened institution of the police. You will recall recently how they arrested our youth organizer in Swami, only because he made 10% of some of these remarks. The man who spoke to you is a minister of state. And if the IGP does nothing about it, we will take actions. And our actions will not be worse. We will carry out his threats and demonstrate to him that in this country, much as we love ourselves, we should not pride ourselves causing violence. And that if it is violence, Brian Achampong comes nowhere close to the NDC. Our tolerance, our patience, our resolve is because we have sensible leaders. We have leaders who love Ghana. We have leaders who want to see this country live peacefully, not because we are scared. What is most unfortunate is that in all of these operations, Brian Achampong sacrifices young men and women who just want to take part in security institutions.
What evidence do you have? What proof do you have to say that?
Provide them to the benefits of violence. Brian Achampong was a real leader in the violence of Ayawaso's weapon. Brian Achampong was militarized people in town. He was a ringleader of same. And we are aware. We know. We are looking forward for the IGP to equally take some action. If he we will
So, Mustafa Agbande, are you on? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, much clearer now.
Look, we are looking to have a very peaceful election, a credible election. The NDC will come to power ultimately. We will not do so with violence. We will not do so by taking plans to assault the security institutions. We will not do so by attacking our opponents. We will simply defend our rights if the time is right to do so. People like Brian Achampong, who was just introduced into the political space yesterday by privilege of being part of the Nana Addo regime, should know that a piece of Ghana cannot be destroyed because of characters like himself.
All right. Thank you very much, Mustafa Agbande, for your time here on Joy Newsroom. He is the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, sharing his perspective with us on that unprintable words. Now, let's stay a while longer on this because we do know that he's not the only one who has been responding to Mr. Achampong's utterances, and ranking member of the Defense and Interior Committee in Parliament, James Agaga, has also posted some sentiments on social media, and my colleague James Saveji has details of that statement and joins me live with more. James, grateful you could join me on the newsroom. What is the statement saying?
All right, Pious. So this statement by James Agaga states that when you look at the utterances of Brian Achampong, two things could be drawn from that. He said first is the fact that, quote, the NPP is hell-bent on subverting the will of the Ghanaian people in order to perpetuate their stay in power even when they lose the 2024 presidential and parliamentary abysmal performance in government, in the pain, suffering, and hardship they have inflicted upon Ghanaians. It continued to say that the second inference he has made from that utterances is that the NPP is prepared to use violence to disrupt the impending elections if it becomes apparent that it will lose power. Now, he also went ahead to link the utterances to some key happenings in the electoral processes of Ghana. He says that he's linking that to the Ayawasu West Wogon violence during the by-elections, link it to the killing of 8 persons during the 2020 elections, as well as the Techima North constituency violence during the 2020 elections. Now, he continued to say that, quote, in view of the above, the dishonorable conduct of Brian Echampo poses a direct and grave threat to Ghana's democracy, and for which reason he must be held accountable. Now, consequently, we entreat the Inspector General of Police to, as a matter of urgency, arrest Brian Echampo and cause his prosecution for engaging in conduct which has the potential to undermine the peace and security of our country. And he concluded by assuring Ghanaians that the NDC shall not leave any stone unturned to ensure Ghana's current democratic situation. So that's what James Agaga have been saying in that statement.
Grateful, James Aveji, for your time sharing that statement with us. You're still watching Joy Newsroom with me, Pious Kojo Backah. There will be more after this break. Hello again. The new Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Minister, Mr. Stephen Asamoah Boateng, has promised to strengthen the relationship between his ministry and traditional authorities in the country. Mr. Boateng says this is to ensure the effective management and resolution of disputes related to chieftaincy and religion. Ila Sutanko reports.
The Chieftaincy Minister is the first high-ranking official of the MPP government to have visited the Nairi after the failed state-sponsored attempt to arrest the Mampurugu king in February for exercising his traditional duty of enskinning a new Boko Naba in the Boko paramountcy of the Mampurugu traditional area. Mr. Stephen Boateng and his entourage were led to the Nairi by the Regional Minister Yidana Zakari and other local government as well as party officials.
And to also let you know that the administration of the Nairi traditionally is not limited only to the Northeast region. Many parts of the Upper East region fall under his jurisdiction. So when you come to this palace, it's an opportunity to visit the ancient palace in Ghana and to see the ancient king of our time. I want to stop the history here. It will take us a whole day to allow the minister to proceed. On that note, Minister, the floor is yours.
The Chieftaincy and Religious Minister, on his part, started his address by thanking the Mampurugu king for his warm welcome to his land and palace before proceeding to state his mission for the visit.
So today is to present myself and to seek his blessings, and for the responsibility ahead of me, for him to bless me and make sure he's my backer. And everything I do, I know he's behind me. This is the first kingdom and palace I've entered, and I thank him for giving me an audience. And I want my father to know that we are going to lift ourselves up and this kingdom will be bigger than it used to be. So today is just presenting myself and to seek his blessings. And later on, me and my father will retire and we'll talk home matters. That is a house matter.
The Overlord once again happily welcomed the minister to his palace as he advised him to bring about progressive changes in the ministry.
The Nairi is so happy about that. And he prays that may the good Lord lead you and support you in all your endeavor. The Nairi wouldn't repeat it again to tell you that this house, his palace, is your home, that you have already mentioned it in your presentation, and it is not something new to him. And it is of the firm hope and belief of His Royal Majesty the Nairi that you said you need Nairi's prayers, his support, to lead you in whatsoever activity that you carry on within the ministry. And the Nairi says that he wants to assure you that He will always support you in every sphere of your life in order to bring about good standards in the ministry.
Now, Bohaga Abdullahi Mahami Sheriga, through his secretary, offered his assurance to support the minister in all his undertakings.
As you worked and set good standards at the Ministry of the Local Government, he's so sure and optimistic that things in the chieftaincy ministry will not be different. You, will work hand in hand with them to bring about sanity and development in the ministry.
After the open forum engagement, the minister held a closed-door meeting with the overlord and a handful of his royal court members before departing the Northeast Regional Capital town. Elias Sutanko reporting for Joy News from Nalerigu.
More on religious matters. Hundreds of traditional worshippers are currently gathered in the shrine of Apetoku Boji at Dagbamate in the Akachi South District to celebrate the annual festival. The Apetoku festivity, which coincides with the Christian Easter celebration, has many traditional worshippers who meet annually to pay homage to their God, which according to them provides their need. My colleague Ivy Setoji joins me via Zoom for more on this. And of course, Ivy, I'm pretty sure you've been monitoring what this festivity or festival is all about. Kindly share with us what you've learned so far. Kindly unmute for me if you can.
Yeah, so if you can hear me, the Apetoku Festival is an annual festival celebrated by the people of Dagbamate, home and abroad. You can see a lot of people, hundreds of residents who normally come here every year to celebrate the festival. According to them, they normally come here to celebrate this festival to give thanks to Apetoku Boji, that's the God, for taking care of them all through the year and for giving them riches, taking care of their helpmates and other needs. And so they always gather in a chapel-like shrine, a very huge chapel where the shrine is located, and to give thanks to the gods for their survival, taking care of them, for their children, their health-wise. So this year, 2023, the theme is for is integrity and loyalty. They are saying that they have been loyal to the gods, and the gods have also been loyal to them. They have not disappointed them. So it's a week-long program starting from yesterday, started yesterday, and it will end, we were told, on Sunday. That's coming Sunday on the 16th, where everyone is expected to go back to their various destinations. Here we have a lot of people, notable people in the society, including the former Speaker of Parliament, Do Adago, who is also among the people. They have also commissioned the Chief Palace, the use of occasion to commission the Chief Palace, a very huge one. Here in Dagbamate is a very neat town. Most of the developmental projects they have was from the process of from the shrine, and according to the leadership of the shrine, the government has not been able to help them with any developmental work. They are asking government to, as a matter of urgency, construct the access roads to the Dagbamate town, so it can be very easy for them, especially those who coming from the main town of Akachi to the town. So yes, as we can see on the screen, that's the huge chapel. You can see some people dancing outside. It is a very huge celebration annually for the people of Dagbamate. You see a lot of people coming even outside the country. Some quite people who also became members of the shrine also come to celebrate the festival annually.
Ivy, one may wonder why we are saying this during this period when we do know that Easter basically is for Christians. So why the coincidence? What's happening? Give us some education on that.
To them, they all worship the same God. According to them, there is a supreme God, that is God Mawu, that is how they call it. So they believe in the Supreme God, that is God Almighty, but they also have their ways of worshiping the Supreme God. That is why they have the shrine and all that. So for them, what they are doing is not different from what the Christians also do. They are also trying to worship the Supreme Being, that is God, or Mauga Stogolisa. So it's just a normal thing. That is why they have the shrine located in a very huge chapel. So when you come to the town, you think it's a chapel, but it is actually a shrine. And here, they don't have any church located in the town. You will not see or find any worship center in the town. Most of the residents, or all the residents, worship in this big shrine every Sunday and have a grounded by every Easter Sunday. So they believe it's a normal thing. The Christians do, they are also doing the same thing. So there is no difference from what the Christians are doing, from what they are doing. And that is why they are also asking government to set aside some kind of support.
All right, so Ivy, before we let go of you, we do know that this is going to be a weeks long. I'm saying that it's going to be. All right, so Ivy, finish your point and let me ask my next question. All right, so Ivy, I want to find out from you that you mentioned that it's going to be a weeks-long program, and give us a sense of what the tourism, people are cashing in. What's the mood in the town, basically? How are they going to position themselves to cash in?
Yes, so it's going to be a week-long program.
Can you hear me, Ivy? All right, so it seems Ivy's line has frozen, but we shall bring her on to conclude that education for us. Now let's move away from that, and we've got business right after this.